Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about top 5 cognitive biases affecting consumer decisions. I'm pretty sure biases have affected some or the other decision in your life, or it continues to affect some of your decisions in your day-to-day life. To start out with, I would like to name the 5 biases which I was able to identify through my research which affect most of the people. Firstly, we have the bandwagon effect bias. Secondly, zero risk bias. Thirdly is authoritative bias. Then we have framing effect. And lastly, we have the decoy effect. To start out with, I would like to introduce the bandwagon effect. Now, it's defined simply as the more people think in a certain way, the more likely it is to grow in popularity and be trusted by newcomers. It's as simple as, for example, you head out and meet 10 or 15 of your acquaintances and they tell you about a particular product, and then you start to have a positive frame about that product. And in some of the cases, you may go out there and end up buying the product. Now, two examples I have for these are, firstly, I have an example of the iPhone 5 and how smartly they have used the bandwagon effect in their tagline for this advertisement. Uh, as you all know, iPhone or Apple products are a tremendous success all over the world, and some of its popularity should be credited to the bandwagon effect. No doubt the products are good, but that does not mean that there are other products which can do equally good. So in the tagline, as I said before, they have used the wordings, loving it is easy. That's why so many people do. And that sometimes is enough for people to make decisions and end up buying iPhones. And they do that with every new iPhone they launch. So their demand always exceeds their production and the prices always stay high. Secondly, we have this advertisement by Nike where they are promoting a pair of basketball shoes, and they have cleverly added a three word line after their motto. The motto or the tagline is just do it, and they have just added everyone else did, and the impact these 3 words make towards the sale of that product is massive. Now, the bandwagon effect has been into existence for a long time, but due to some of the recent catalysts, as you can see on the top right, which are Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or in general the social media, its impact is tremendous. It has led to the formation of an amazing business model for influencers on these platforms. All the product manufacturers have to do is pay them a certain amount so that the influencers can spread good word about the product, and then the followers spread it amongst more people and the bandwagon effect continues. Next we have the zero risk bias, and it is defined as a tendency to prefer the complete elimination of a risk in a subpart even when the alternative options produce a greater reduction in risk. One of the best examples for this bias that I could think of is the general investment in the military or the Air Force or the Navy that all the countries do. Now, for example, let's take terrorism. Everyone knows that there has been a huge uprising against the terrorism activities, and a lot of countries are investing in their army and navy and air force in order to stay safe. The question here is that the uprising against terrorism is to save human lives, and peop and there are some other issues out there which are taking many more human lives as compared to terrorism. Now, as you can see on the graph on the right, as you can see on the poster on the right, motor vehicle accidents take a lot more lives as compared to war or terrorism, and it would be a much better investment in terms of saving human lives in improving the motor vehicle situation all around the world, or particularly in the US, if we consider this example. But due to the zero risk bias, people generally tend to back up the government on their investments into the military or the army. That's the impact that zero risk bias has. Nextly, we have the authoritative bias, and it is defined as the tendency to attribute greater accuracy to the opinion of an authority figure. He may or may not be related to its content, but and be more influenced by that opinion. Now, for this example, I picked up this advertisement by Hugo Boss, wherein they have Chris Hemsworth as their ambassador, and just due to his presence beside the product or him promoting the product, a lot more people end up buying the product as compared to if he was not on the poster or he was not their ambassador. Secondly, I have the example of Rolex watches, where they have one of the most influential people on the planet, David Beckham, promoting their product. And it is bound to happen that a lot more watches get sold just because of his presence or him being the brand ambassador for that. Next, we have what we call as the framing effect, and it is defined as the uh, bias that dictates that people react to choices in different ways depending on the manner it is presented to them. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you know that smoking is bad for health, and you must be thinking that the previous generations also had some knowledge that smoking as is not good for health. But before the discovery that smoking is not bad for health, cigarettes were framed or tobacco was framed in such a way and presented to people that everyone thought that it was amazing. Everyone thought that this product is something they have to have with them and have to use. As you can see from the advertisement on the left hand side, it is an advertisement for Marlboro cigarettes where they use lifestyle marketing where a person wearing cowboy hats, boots, is smoking the cigarette. It just gives a feel good factor for people to have the same product. The second example that I have for this effect is the modern day evil, Coke, and they too use lifestyle advertisement for promoting their products. As you can see from the picture, the tagline here is "Open a Coke and open happiness." I'm sure that you have been to a lot of gatherings or parties, and you must have seen a bottle of Coke or some other forms of soda in there for use for various purposes, of course. But that's the power of framing something, even if it's bad for you or if it's framed properly, people are going to buy it. Lastly, we have the decoy effect, and it's defined as when people are presented with a couple of options, they have a hard time making decisions. For this bias, a decoy is introduced to pull in higher profits. And this one is my favorite particularly because I have fallen prey to this a lot of times, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you must have fallen for this as well. I'm sure you have watched a lot of movies, and if you have watched movies, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Popcorn, right? And this is one of the best examples for decoy effect. So consider the theater sells just a small and a large size popcorn, and as a regular customer, you see that you end up paying $3 for a small and $7 for a large. And the obvious choice would be the small one because it just gives you a better bang for your buck. But when you put in a decoy in the form of a medium-sized popcorn in there, which goes for $6.50, now if you see all three tubs together, you perceive that the large offers the best value for your money. This is something that the coffee shops also use regularly. So for example, you have a Starbucks example here, where if Starbucks ends up selling their coffee in just two cups, in a small and a medium size, most of the people would go with the small one, or some of them would go with the medium one as they require. and the profits pulled in by the company will be not that great. But just because they have three sizes, one small, medium, and the large offers a perception that it is the best value for what you pay. Whereas it is the best value for what you pay, but it's the best value for the company because they end up making a lot more money when as compared to when you purchase a small or a medium. That's it. Thank you.